What's going on, guys? Okay, so I just wanted to talk about something I've been dealing with, trying to get my AC going again in my third gen Camaro. I have a 1989 Camaro. So this is the condenser that came out of my 89. This is an OEM style tube and fin AC condenser. These are really hard to get now. I think that was my issue, is that, so here's my new one. Let's just address this one real quick. Or here's a new one if you're gonna order it from like Spectra or GPD. Any of those brands on Rock Auto are gonna send you this, but they're gonna put something in the listing. They're all the same picture and they all look like this. They all look like the tube and fin, and they look like they have this rounded edge here, which the car from the factory uses these rubber grommets that mount there to keep it in place really nicely, and it fits really well. So obviously the problem is that you're ordering this $80 condenser or $100 condenser or whatever. It's looking like that and you're like, oh great, it's gonna work, it's gonna fit in the car. And let me just start by saying it fits in the car, like, but just not well, like not well at all. So as you can see, there's some pretty huge differences right off the bat. The tubes are fine. Those are in the right spots. And as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, the pitches are all the same. That's all good. The lines will bolt up. But the first difference, the main difference, is that this is a tube and fin condenser. There's a bunch of tubes and stuff on the side, and these are just not as efficient. I've read about it, and these are more efficient. I don't know how, I don't know why, but you want to be running a parallel flow condenser to get the coldest AC, the best performing AC with the lowest temps. My main issue at first was that, okay, I would get this condenser and I go to put it in the car. And this is before I even knew about the efficiency differences between these two condensers. I'd go in the car and I was like, well, great, these tabs are in the way. They're cutting into the rubber, or they're just cutting into the paint, and it's not holding it in properly. So I just tried my hardest to find a replacement that was like this. And in that research, pretty much what I found out was that Spectra used to sell Spectra's like the main people that, you know, everyone kind of sees everywhere on Amazon and Rock Auto. They're selling it when it looked like this, and it was a tube and fin. And for whatever reason, they ran out or they discontinued them, and then they started selling them again, but they started looking like this. They started selling these parallel flows. I don't understand why, but in that research, I actually found out too that apparently you can get the Spectra version of this one that will fit in your 86 to 91 Camaro. It will come looking like this, a tube and fin. It'll fit with all your rubber grommets, and it'll fit like OEM, but that's in Canada. And I actually called the company and they said, I never really 100% found out if the Spectra product that they were receiving from their warehouse was this tube and fin design or not, but it sounded like to me that Canada gets the actual tube and fin one, but for whatever reason this is not legal here, or it's just not done here anymore. I don't know why, but after doing all that, and then also finding out after my research that the parallel flow is going to be better, I was like, okay, well, maybe I should just give up on the tube and fin design. And definitely I'd rather go for efficiency over, you know, ease of fitment into the car. So I landed on, basically I was gonna either cut these tabs off and put it in the car and figure out some way to secure it. Well, that was basically my move. Or my other move was going to be finding a parallel flow that was in the same profile as this tube and fin, and I did find one. And I think, you know, people know about it and they find it if they research it, but it's pretty expensive. It's like $325 from Original Air Products, I think. So I'm not doing that. I'm sticking with this $80 condenser. You know, as long as it doesn't leak, I'm pretty sure it's going to be way better than that one. And I went to go see if I can cut these off, but I'm just concerned that these brackets are also the caps for these cross flow up and down banks of the condenser here. So I actually just figured out a way to I just sat these down in the rubber grommets. One thing I want to mention is that, like, you can see these guys are not the same size. So even if you cut these tabs off and you try to mount it in the, you know, because this is sandwiched up and down between rubber grommets. And so if you cut these tabs off and try to sandwich it, this guy is not going to be as tall and it's not going to fit between those rubber grommets anymore. So the only way to get the dimension sort of the same is by keeping these tabs on, because now you can kind of see that if you take into account the height of the tabs on the bottom and the top, it's the same height. So you gotta sandwich it in how it is right now, unfortunately. These guys gotta go in the bottom grommets. Those guys, I actually put the grommets onto the side and then I fastened the grommets to those to those brackets and got it in there pretty nicely. So we're gonna run this parallel flow, see how it goes. Hopefully everything is colder. I'd like to have run that, but I think the more efficient one is gonna be the better option here. So just to show y'all, this is the way that I've mounted this parallel flow condenser with the weird tabs and everything. I'm reusing these rubber grommets, like I said. I just use a zip tie to I actually drilled through the grommet right here. So crosscar, I drilled through it to just enough to open up a hole for a zip tie. And I have zip tied the grommet to the tabs on the top and the bottom of the condenser. So it's been staying in place pretty well. It's pretty locked in there. So haven't had any issues with that so far.